Oh, hello, so why am I making this video? A few weeks ago, my team and I went to a hackathon called NASA Space Apps Challenge, and we made something that I think is really cool. It's actually my favorite project I've ever made in a hackathon, and while this project is still under review, I didn't want it to get lost in the judging pipeline, and I really wanted to share it here because I think it's really cool. So what did we do? Our project is called TwinkleStar, and we basically turned the image of constellations. We basically turned the images of stars into an immersive sound experience where, well, I can describe it, but I think it's better to show you. So let me decrease the volume of my speakers because I'm using jack as well. So if you go to the GitHub down below, actually we were 5 people. My name and another teammate's name is missing because we were short on time and we just shared the directly to WhatsApp. We were like, oh my god, please. We didn't have time to git commit, or maybe we were lazy. You can say that. So if you go to the web page, you click on it, you get to choose 4 images, and I'm gonna choose ProStar because I think that's the coolest one. If you click on it, you'll hear this. Let me see. Okay, nice. And then you have to refresh the page because reasons. So how did we do this? So when we first arrived to the hackathon, we were assigned a mentor, and this mentor had a little Python script that divided a picture into different segments using some craziness with the Fibonacci sequence. I'm not really gonna go in depth into what both of them did because I don't want to butcher their work. Maybe because I didn't touch this code at all. This is so basically, once they divided the picture into different segments, they extracted different features from it. And with this script, they generated this huge matrix. So this huge matrix is mapped to different quadrants and segments of this picture, and all of these columns are different features. They also did some interpolation just to make the values smoother. You'll see why. So once they generated this CSV, what I did is took this CSV and invoked a different, where's the right here. I invoked different threads that went through the whole matrix. Let me see if I'm okay. I'm still recording. So I invoked some different threads that went through the matrix because each worker thread is supposed to be editing values in here. So to make the sound, I used Ardor, which is an open source digital audio workstation, and I used a communication protocol called OSC. It's called OSC. I forgot what it stands for. Open Sound Control, I believe. No, I think it says right here. So we go to if we go to preference, and if we go to control surface, open sound control. Okay. So what this Python code basically does is that in real time, right here we have a cooldown of 0.25, I think, seconds. In real time, it sends each value of that matrix to different places inside Ardor. If you go to the mixer, okay, this Ardor project is also in the GitHub repo. So if you go to the GitHub repo, you go to source, and then you go to scripts, and then you go to headphones test. This is the Ardor project, and this is the part that generates the features. Juan Kohler and Mikel also made a script that generates MIDI. We'll see the MIDI that they generated, and then soundificator.py is what I'm gonna show you. So if you execute, hopefully this works. I installed every single dependency. I don't think it's gonna do anything because this is not in modify mode. Okay. Yes, it's this one. Let me execute this. Okay, it is. So right now it's sending different messages to our door while it's going through the matrix. It turns the matrix into a data frame. Let me stop this. Okay, so our data frame is at the top. I think I do print it. Oh yes, so I don't know if this was my mistake, but it turns out I was using Python OSC. I was able to send messages to our door, but I wasn't able to um, hear back from our door. So I made a UDP server. Where is the UDP server? Right here. Yes, this is the UDP socket, so that our door sent messages back. So this is actually really cool because I think that this, I didn't really know about this, but it turns out it's really easy to modify almost every single parameter inside our door. I'll show you what these parameters mean in a second. So this really does mean that one can build almost any type of controller and manipulate everything that's inside our door. Also, so to know where to send these messages, for example, right here says strip plugin parameter. These three parameters are basically what tell my Python script where to send the instructions. Then to find out these parameters, I had to query Ardor, and to hear back from Ardor, I had to set up this UDP socket on port number, I believe it's right here. Port control surfaces. It was somewhere here. Yes, port number 8000. And I think Ardor also has their default port where everything's sent to. Okay, 3819. So basically you send OSC messages to 3819, and then you, well, if you're using Python OSC, I have no idea how to listen, because supposedly Ardor replies back within the same port, but I wasn't able to get anything out of Ardor. So I made this UDP server to get the datagrams from Ardor, and then I tried to parse as best as I could the datagrams. If you see, I think somewhere right here I tried to parse the data, but it's really a huge mess. Sorry about that. So basically, if we go to mix, right here we have one, two, three, four, five. We have 5 instruments. The worker threads, which I believe it's about, they are about 16. No, there's more than 16. There's a bunch of them. So the worker threads are distributed within these strips. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 instruments, and then these 5 instruments are the strips, and then each instrument has a set of modifiable plugins. I always modify, well, yes, I do always modify the first plugin, so that's why you see right here, oh, it's really small, I know, but this this parameter right here is the plugin. The first one, I believe, is the strip. This is really not that intuitive. So basically, inside one of these strips is a cardinal synth instance, and each of these are different unique sounds that I made using modular synthesis. Now, if there are some music producers in the audience, they must be foaming at the mouth, because this is the first time I've ever used modular synthesis, and I was sleep deprived when I did this. And inside of this plugin, I also automatically choose. I manually choose which parameters to modulate. This was made through human intervention. No, this wasn't parameterized. So this software is all is always making similar sounds, but they're actually really different, because it turns out that, for example, right here, I use I modify some parameters in the distortion, and when we have bigger parameters, we get different. If we have more intense parameters, we have a higher distortion, and if we have lower parameters, we have less distortion. And so, for example, this other sound has different modules in the modular synthesis, and I also do modify different ones in here. So there's three parameters per each of the instruments, except for the first one. The first one has 4 parameters. Why? Because it was too much work. But I still think it sounds really good. And even though you're not modifying the modules themselves, which make up each a different sound, each different image really does sound a lot different from the other ones. So how did we emulate? Well, how did I emulate the star of the object going around the person? So there's a thing called, okay. Well, no. Okay, A and B. Graphic equivalent. I don't know why this isn't activated in this project. So basically, there's this plugin called A and B. Yes, in the final project, this is activated, but I don't know why in the save version it isn't. So this azimuth effect is modulated right over here. Yes. So you can see that at the start of the sonification, we start with low volume. Oh, this is manual, by the way. This wasn't parameterized. I should have probably parameterized it. But so at the start of the simulation, it starts with a low volume, and then there's a peak, and then the volume is decreased until it's non-existent. Same for this azimuth, which I found out that from the minimum value up to the middle value, I believe, it emulates the sound going like this around your head. And I also used a reverb called the Dragonfly. There are better plugins than this one. This is kind of glitched out, but this was free and open source. This was the thing that I found was less, let's say, less, the one that had the highest quality. Okay, so I used the Dragonfly Hall reverb in the master bus. I tried to use one for each. At first, I was gonna modify one for each instrument, but I just left Dragonfly wherever it makes sense. So right here, I modify, I think, the wet and dry setting, so that whenever the sound got away from the listener, the Dragonfly reverb got more intense. And then the rest is just normal processing to make the sound a little bit more, to make each sound a little bit more unique. I know this isn't professional mixing, I was just doing whatever I could. So how does this work? To modify all of these parameters, let me show you with just a few of them. I have to modify them to select to write. I later found out that with each that I can also change this from touch to write within the same Python script, but I didn't have enough time, so I did this manually for each sound. So I had to modify all of this and change them to write, and then I had to execute the script at the same time that I pressed play, so that these parameters were being modified. So let's say I press play and I go quickly. you can see all of them are getting modified, and there's a crap ton of variables right here getting modified. So I can't hear anything. Okay, so that means that each sound is really quite different. I then exported the sound file and I gave it to my friend Rodrigo, which made something that I think is quite based. I don't know. I don't really understand the source code, so I think I should just show you. So right here. Oh wait, no, this is gonna sound. Can I mute this? No, no, I can't. Sorry. So this. Let's listen to another one. So this 3D visualization that you see was made by him. I think he forked another project, and then he used something called. Well, he used a histogram based on a Fourier transform. He analyzed the other project. He used 3JS. He did his magic basically, and this is how we ended up with this. So if you didn't get lost, hopefully you. I mean, so hopefully you enjoyed the video. You didn't get lost with the explanation that I made. Basically, this is really cool. More people should use Ardor. I think Ardor is amazing for letting you do all of this. I don't know if this was even possible with other DAWs. I also have. I also considered using Ableton, but since right now I'm using Linux, and Ableton is a pain on Linux, I was just praying that Ardor worked, and it did work, and it did help us a lot. So thank you for watching this video. Bye bye. So I was just editing the video. You can see me looking at a Kdenlive tutorial, and I realized I forgot to mention that how we actually got the MIDIs. So again, Juan Coder and Mikel made this little script. Well, I think this is Juan Coder's final version. We had two versions, and then for each different sound we chose between Mikel's and Juan Coder's version because they use different approaches. Okay, so I'm more familiar with Juan Coder's code, and from what I understand, he made it so that the MIDIs, the higher notes are mapped to higher values, and lower, more bassy notes are mapped to lower values in the sequence. And both scripts generate both scripts generate notes around the same octave that the sounds are made to work with, because we realized that if we had notes that were too high and they're too low, the sounds will lose all their uniqueness and reason to exist. So yeah, we choose around the same octave, and yes, that's how we got the MIDIs, which are the notes that trigger the sounds in different tones.